How is it going, folks? Welcome back to Build in Berlin and welcome back to episode number 24. The January transfer window has come and gone. Not a great deal happened in it in the end. And while we are back today for two big games in the league, we are back in the Champions League spots. We are taking on Bayern Munich away today. If we beat them, we can close the gap on them to a solitary point. As well as that game as well, we have got this game here against Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim, media prediction 7th, predicted to be one spot ahead of us. Our prediction, of course, being 8th. Right now, they sit even on points with us, but we have better goal difference and the game in hand against Bayern, which, well, we're probably not going to win. After last episode, I'm just hoping we can get a win today. That's the aim. Let's try and make it happen. Run the intro. We've got Pep Guardiola's Bayern Munich up first. Not sure why I'm coming back for this one, but we move. I feel like in Football Manager, there are a few teams in certain leagues where you turn up to the away games knowing it's not going to be very fun. Man City in the Premier League, PSG in France, and I think it is the same for Bayern Munich. At least at the moment, they are still one of the best teams in the league, and in fact, if they were to beat us today by 2 or more goals, they will go back to the top of the Bundesliga. Now, of course, last episode was a disappointing doubleheader as we took on Stuttgart and Inter, as you can see here. Since then, things have got better. What I would say is that there were more winnable games in here. That said, the 2 games before the winter break, 2 great results. The first, a win 2-1 against Werder Bremen. Shout out to Zach Karyan. 2 goals in this game. Only 2 of his 3 goals scored all season in this game here, but all important. And after that, we ended the month of December with a 1-0 win against Schalke. Tom Kraus from the penalty. Not exactly how I wanted to end things with that unconvincing result, but 2 wins was nice. We had the winter break. We came back, demolished Cologne 5-0. Loads of different goal scorers was great to see. We then took on Darmstadt in the DFB Pokal. Of course, we've won this competition the last 2 years. I'd love to make it 3 years in a row. Darmstadt currently down towards the bottom of the Bundesliga. The 4-3 win not exactly convincing. Worth noting, their key player, Linus Gechter, is actually one of our players on loan at Darmstadt. He's been playing loads of regular first-team football in the Bundesliga, the 21-year-old. Is developing really, really well. And to be honest, I think he's going to be ready for first-team football sooner rather than later. We then took on Hertha Berlin in the league. We lost this game 1-0 away from home. Difficult game against Hertha. Hertha are a good team, albeit underperforming. But the big headline in this game was the Alex Scott injury, because it wasn't a minor injury, not by any means. And in fact, you can see here, has done a fitness test, failed that fitness test. He's not available for the first game today, and to be honest, we will be lucky if he's available for the second one. Good news, though, we did bounce back in the Europa League against PAOK. We won 4-0. Convincing result. Max Morstead getting off to a flyer. A player who wasn't registered for the earlier group stage games, but of course, in January, you can change the players that are registered in the European competitions. You can change, I think, 3 players total. Max was a player I decided to bring in, rewarded that faith immediately with a 4-0 result there. We then took on Bochum and got another 4 goals, and then most recently against Rijeka, we won 5-0. We absolutely destroyed them. The goals have started to flow in recent games. You can see in this game here, Nemecha playing out on the left-hand side as an inside forward, Max Morstead then playing through the middle, and that is a setup that has kind of worked. We needed to adapt things a little bit with some of the injuries that we've had, and it's certainly given me food for thought, because when we've set up like this, we've looked rather good. Also in this game, great to see Adriano playing well. The 19-year-old filling in for Alex Scott, and has really been up to the task in the last 5 games where we've called upon him. So in the Europa League, we did end up finishing in those top 8 spots, 19 points in total. In the end, 4 points within that crucial top 8 position that guarantees you a spot in a latter round. So slightly fewer games to worry about. And as a result of that, rather than come back for those Europa League games, which are still a little way away, the first knockout round, we're back for the Bundesliga, where, as I already mentioned, we start in 4th as we kick off today's episode. Got this game in hand over Hoffenheim. If we were to win here, it'd be a crazy result. If we could, by some miracle, win both games today, that could leave us in an incredible position. Elsewhere, by the way, Dortmund currently 8 points ahead of Mainz. Yeah, Dortmund not doing well. Wolfsburg and Leverkusen and Hertha Berlin all struggling as well. Kind of mad. Now, I did mention earlier the January transfer window. It did happen. It was a thing. We made one signing in it, and in fact, this player here has not got an updated regen face yet. I need to get my real regen faces pack sorted, don't I? Here we have Ferdinand Bale Walling, a name that rolls off the tongue, generated in Denmark, was available for a measly £200,000. And when you see a young German talent with real potential for £200,000, you just take a punt on them, don't you? This guy has 16 heading, 13 jumping reach. He's got the natural stature of a centre-back. Now he just needs to become a centre-back in all other aspects. In terms of transfers out, we did actually make a couple at the death. You can see here a few players left right at the end of the window. The first, Lino Templeman, a player we brought in to be a squad player a few years ago. He's currently running down his contract at the club. He wanted to move away. We've managed to get him a loan away to the end of his contract. He's going to be leaving us at the end of the season, but at least for now, we don't have to pay his wages. Elsewhere, a few permanent departures. The first might come as a little bit of a surprise, but Danny Da Costa is leaving us. He was unhappy due to his lack of first-team football, and that combined with the fact that, well, really, he's not getting any younger, and he only had 6 months left on his current contract. I figured we'd get £1 million for him. He's come in, he's served his purpose. This year, he's only played 4 games. We're moving him on. And out on the other side, the left-back that was here when we first came to the club in Roussillon has also left to join Regensburg. This guy, I mean, he's just hit that point in his career, aged 33, where he's declining in all aspects. He's really just not good enough for us anymore. It does mean that when it comes to left-backs in the immediate first team, we're perhaps a little bit light. Obviously, Luca Netz is the natural starting left-back. Behind him, Arian B is the logical plan B. And when you look beyond that, I guess the next player that you look at is Kabar. To be honest, Kabar is a player who's not happy at the club right now, but I'm just keeping him around because he will get homegrown at clubs sooner rather than later. He's not looking like he's going to develop into a particularly good player, but one player you might have forgotten about, and to be honest, I'll admit it, I'd kind of forgotten about him as well, was Vitaly Becker. You might remember we signed him last year from Schalke for £3.2 million, and as part of that agreement, we loaned him back to Schalke for the next 18 months. So that deal was agreed last January. He will return to us at the start of next season, and in terms of backup left-back options, the 20-year-old looks really, really good. So, in a bizarre twist of fate, I feel like we've already got the Roussillon replacement here. We just need him to come back from Schalke. There was perhaps a temptation to recall him from his loan to Schalke, but ultimately, he's played 20 league games for them. He's continuing to develop. It's an environment that he's been in for his whole career. And whilst he's playing regular football that I don't really feel like I can offer him right now, just makes sense to keep him out on loan. The only other player to leave in the transfer window was Sidi Sane, a player who was a bit of a bust, and that might be an understatement. We signed him for £1.5 million year one. We're selling him for barely over £100,000. There is a 50% sell-on of any profit, so if he goes on to develop late, we get some money. But just as a little reminder, he broke his foot, he broke his leg, he's had so many issues of injuries, and having missed, over 7 months of football during the time he's been contracted, it just kind of made sense to move him on. He's never going to get near our first team. So I did mention earlier the injury to Alex Scott that keeps him out of today's game. He is not the only player with an injury to worry about. Firstly, Martel has food poisoning at centre-back, so he's not going to be starting, I don't think, today. Elsewhere in the team, though, you can see there's been a few little injuries here and there. Zach Haryan missed 9 days of football. He also got injured in that game against Hertha Berlin, so that makes the run of results after the Hertha Berlin result even more impressive, really, considering we were without him. Elsewhere, Felix Nemetja missed a couple of days. Diamandes missed a few days as well. Morten Forsby also appears on this list. He was out with a virus, and well, speaking of Forsby, he has recently signed a new deal at the club. Model professional personality, 20 determination. Of course, a player that, if we just look at mentoring, is mentoring a fair few first-team players for us and actually having a pretty good benefit on their kind of, personality development. Obviously, tutoring as it was in Football Manager used to be this really broken thing. It doesn't really exist in the same way anymore with mentoring. If you're an old school Football Manager player, let me know. Do you miss the old system? Do you prefer the new one? It doesn't really feel as powerful anymore as it used to be. It used to be that you could send a player to be, tutored by some player and they would just turn into the mini-me of the other player. They'd have the exact same personality and it was all great. Sadly, with Forsby here, we don't have the capacity to clone his kind of mental attributes. But that said, he is a very important player for us. He is a player who's an influential player in the dressing room. With that in mind, it's nice to get him locked down for a couple more years because his contract was running out at the end of the season. Anyway, that is you all caught up on what you've missed. Shall we get into this game against Bayern Munich? This is far from easy. it's going to be a tricky one. So just looking at Zach Hyen, I mentioned he's been out injured. You can see here, fitness test not required, but with his condition looking a little wibbly wobbly, and given that this is a game I don't necessarily expect us to win anyway, I've decided that for this game, he's not going to start. Elsewhere, I am tempted to drop Tillman and bring in Max Morstead. I've been fiddling around a little bit more than ever in the final third. You might have noticed here as well, the right attacking mid is now an advanced playmaker on attack rather than support. It does feel like perhaps we have too many players on the attack duty, but I do feel like that little change there has contributed to the more goals we are scoring. So with that in mind, I think we're going to stick with it. It's kind of weird. We are continuing to tweak the system slightly here and there. I talked about it last episode, but we were having a lot of possession and not really returning a lot with it. We're going a bit more attacking with the change to the advanced playmaker, with Nemetsha playing out on the left-hand side as an inside forward. That's another minor change there. But if you ever played Football Manager, I feel like you know this. Sometimes you just change one or two player roles and things seem to drastically turn around for you. And whilst we didn't need a drastic turnaround, really, we just need to try and see out a few more results, perhaps have a slightly better conversion rate. The changes that we have made do seem to be contributing towards that. Okay, nervous for this one. Away from home against Bayern Munich, the kind of game that you turn up for expecting a pounding. Gonna hope that we can be up to the task. We've beaten them before, albeit once, in a DFB Pokal final that involved penalties, but we did beat them on that occasion. Of course, with this being a league game, if we do want to beat them, we have to do it inside 90 minutes. And I think in order to do that, we're going to need to weather a storm, and that storm, it might be brewing now, because the ball is in a wide area with Vanna. Netz is going to win the ball back, though, nicely there at left back. He lays it to Hadel. He plays it out to Kraus, and now we look to build out from the back. And well, if we're building out from the back, whatever we were building, it's just fallen down. That pass was absolutely awful. And now Bayern Munich on the attack. Musiala, loose touch, loses out the ball. Martel, of course, out today means Bissek is back in the team. Certainly a bit of a makeshift appearance here. No Alex Scott, no Zach Hyen, no Martel, but Nemetsha's on the ball. He's going forward. And for a moment, I thought we had a golden opportunity, but as he drifted wider, the opportunity to score just kind of evaporated. It was dealt with well by Bayern Munich, but showing a little bit of attacking intent, and well, we might be doing more of that here, because Netz has the ball at left back, a little bit isolated. He's going to go back to Taruna Riga. He goes inside to Diamande. Kraus now with the ball. Bissek. Morstead, playing as that target forward on support, he will drop in a little bit, inviting the two wider attacking players on attack duties to get in behind. Speaking of which, there is Nemetsha, there is Netz, there is Morstead, and we've hit the woodwork. We've had two good chances in this game. As the away team, can't help but feel like chances are going to be few and far between. We need to start taking some of these that come our way. Okay, half-time in this game, 0-0. If you told me that we were going to be 0-0 against Bayern Munich, I probably would have been quite happy with that at half-time. Players look fired up, look motivated. Diamande looks nervous. I'm going to tell him I've got faith with him. I can't fault your effort. Keep it going. He's motivated. Everyone's happy. More of the same in the second half, please. There are a few Bayern Munich players now on bookings as well. We're really taking the game to them here. And well, we've got plenty of players surging forward here. Adriano is one of them. And then he's gone and done that. Adriano does make me angry at times. I feel like longer term, he could be the future of this team. He could be the Alex Scott replacement if he ever was to leave us. He is continuing to improve. Very excited by him. But on the pitch, every so often, he does dumb stuff like what you've just seen there. 62 minutes played. I'm going to make some changes. Nemetsha really struggling for fitness in this game here. I'm going to bring in Zach Hyen and play him in the wider area. He is a player coming back from injury, but did pass that previous fitness test. Adriano out on the right-hand side is struggling as well. I don't really have a similar mould of player to bring on, so I think I'm just going to stick it out with him for now. Wiedrego is struggling with his legs as well, so we're going to bring in Felix Nemetsha at centre mid. This guy I had such high hopes for after last year. This year, I mean, what a fall from grace. Maybe he can turn around his season. Maybe today's the kind of day where he can come off the bench and be a hero. Elsewhere in the team, Bissek's not having the best of games, but I think we're just going to keep him on. Bullet at right back hasn't been great, so I'm going to bring in Tower, and I think we'll keep two more subs in our back pocket. We've got Demirovic and Tillman on the bench, but at 0-0, this isn't really the kind of game where I feel like I need to switch to the free striker system we've tried as of late. Of course, it didn't really work against Inter Milan. Not much reason to expect it to work here either, really. Corner here for Bayern Munich. Guerrero whipping the ball towards the back stick. Tower heads it away, but only as far as Musiala. Bayern Munich, plenty of players committed for. Musiala wanders on his lonesome, and scores a ridiculous goal. It's an amazing run, and it's the kind of run that when you see it in Football Manager, you almost don't expect there to be a goal. You know, we all see these highlights, don't we, where the players go on really long runs and nothing happens. Every so often something happens. Today is that day. Musiala picks up the ball and then just runs inside. Keeper might be disappointed to be beaten at the near post. But having made a triple change, Bayern Munich score immediately, and if we want to get anything here, we're going to have to score ourselves. Morstead goes down in a heap. That looked like it could have been a penalty. We still have the ball in a dangerous area. Zakharyan takes it down. Zakharyan scores on off the bench. It's a response within 2 minutes. And having thought for a moment we were going to get a penalty, I wondered if the chance had passed. It hadn't passed. And well, it's the winger scoring a great little goal. The initial tackle was great. Adriano spots the man at the far post free. Zakharyan, killer touch to take it down. Moves it onto his right foot, slots it away. There's 25 minutes left here. I feel like this game's only just getting started. I'm going to shout some encouragement at the players here. I want to motivate them. There's loads of green, happy, smiley faces. They've got players on bookings. We've been playing really well here. There's 5 minutes left. I'm going to make one last change. Forsby's going to come in for Kraus. Forsby is a bit of a weapon from set pieces with his aerial ability. We do like to aim crosses towards our defensive midfielder, so with him on the pitch, he will be the intended recipient. Planning for set pieces, maybe we don't need them though, because we've got the ball in a dangerous area here. Zakharyan heads the ball goalwards. Sadly for us, Neuer more than up to the task. It does feel a little bit weird to see Neuer playing for Bayern 3 years in the future, given obviously his injury woes in real life. They've got good players on the pitch, haven't they? Goretzka to Muller, who slots it through the keeper's legs. That is a disgusting finish, isn't it, by Thomas Muller? Bayern Munich sees the lead here with 3 minutes left. I thought we'd done really well. We'd had half a chance at one end, and then the ball is launched forward. Tell wins it, nods it down to Adeyemi, who Bayern Munich signed from Dortmund. Goretzka to Muller, and then from here, Heidel has his pants pulled down. And the ball is just stuck through his legs. It's into the back of the net. There is not very long left of this game now. Forsby isn't even on the pitch. I've got a couple of minutes to make some changes. At this point, is it too late to go to the free striker setup? That was a rhetorical question, by the way. The answer is absolutely not. Demirovic is on. Tillman is on. We are going for, well, what we can in what's left of this game here. Direct play. In terms of distribution, just lump it over the top. It's a very sophisticated system. Distribute quickly, kick it long, have a rush. Let's see what we can do. How much added time is there here? 5 minutes. Can we have a highlight? Football Manager. 2 minutes left here. Is anything going to happen? You know the answer. I've gone attacking. It's Football Manager. Nothing ever happens in this situation. This game finishes 2-1. And whilst it's bitterly disappointing to lose via an 88th minute goal, I feel like we gave it a bloody good go. Sadly, a bloody good go isn't worth anything when it comes to points. And with that result there, whilst we do hold on to 4th place, suddenly this next game against Hoffenheim feels like it matters that little bit more. There's a bit of a gap between ourselves, Hoffenheim, and the trailing pack. Whoever wins this next game is going to be in a really good position. That game against Hoffenheim is in 6 days' time. As the home team, we have to back ourselves in it. And elsewhere, Pep Guardiola has stormed out of the press conference after being asked, does he fear complacency? He has stormed out the... Pep's lost it. We're rent-free in his head. He scrapes by 2-1, gets accused of complacency, and now he's not talking to the press. Does that count as a win? I'm going to take that as a moral victory for us. Really says a lot, doesn't it, about that match? The fact that I'm taking the fact that Pep Guardiola stormed out the press conference as a win for us, as if we were somehow actively involved. Let me have it, please. Thank you. Right, this next game is a big one. Hoffenheim, 6 days away, going to rest up the players. Maybe Alex Scott will be back for it. Maybe Zakharyan will be ready to start. We'll find out in a mo. We need to win. Let's try and make it happen, shall we? Okay, it's been a while since we've won in an episode. I'd quite like to win this game here, and it feels like it should be a winnable one, but then again, this season feels like it's been a season where the games I expect to win, we occasionally struggle in. Now, when it comes to team selection for this game, Alex Scott can play up to 75 minutes. I think I have to take a chance on him in this one. Zakharyan is also back and fit in the team. Martel back in at centre-back as well. Unfortunately for us, Kraus is suspended, so at centre defensive mid, Forsby is going to come in to be that rock in the middle. That does mean as well on the bench that Addons is going to get a spot. This is a guy who we brought in this year for £7.5 million. and he's barely played. I kind of wanted to loan him out in January, but there were no offers for him. There's a few players like Addons who, really, if it wasn't for the fact we're narrowly fighting for a top 4 finish, I'd probably rotate into the team that little bit more. He's not even been training well recently. Let's criticise his training while we're here. I'm sure that's going to make him happy. In the final third, I am still persisting as well with Nemesha out on the left and Morstead through the middle. Morstead playing against his former club here in Hoffenheim. I'm hoping he's got a point to prove to them. They let him go without him ever playing in the Bundesliga for them. For us, he's not been amazing in the Bundesliga, although a lot of his appearances have been on off the bench. He's going to start there. Nemesha playing as an inside forward on attack. Let's try and get some goals scored today. One thing I haven't mentioned sooner, and really I should have mentioned sooner, we'll just wait and watch Skov miss the free kick first before I say anything. Good save by Hadel. Our stadium's been expanded. We've had a few more seats put in. I think it's an extra 5,000 on the capacity. Doesn't look that different in 3D, but there are apparently, I've been assured, more seats and, well, a bigger capacity now. It's still not a big stadium. Longer term, we still probably do need to get a new one built. But at least for now, it'll do the job. And right now, we are just on the back foot again. They've got a corner this time, which we're going to half clear away. Can we continue to get it away from danger? Juranovic, edge of the box, donning the captain's armband. Our former man gets an assist for Geiger, who scores an absolute screamer for his first goal of the season. What is this finish here? Geiger lays off to Juranovic. He takes a touch. He lays it back to Geiger, who pulls the trigger first time. It hits the crossbar, it hits the post, it's a screamer. Hadel has no chance. If we want to win here, we've got to come back from behind. Nets on the far side, throws it to Forsby, back with Nets. He's going to float it in towards Alex Scott. The ball is dealt with here. Bullock now going to look to try and keep it alive. Scott, well, I thought he was fouled from behind, but instead the play is continuing. And we are back in possession. Martel, back from his food poisoning, back in possession. Lays it back to Hadel. Was a little bit of interest in Hadel over the winter period. We had a bid of £20 million for him from a Qatari club, but I just didn't have an alternative goalkeeper to bring in. And Hadel is very, very good on his day, as is Drago, who has hit the post there for us. Not for the first time this season that's happened. Sure, it's not the last time this season he'll hit the post as well. It's dealt with. 20 minutes played here, still a goal down, but back in possession and, well, hopefully back trying to make something happen here. Martel steps out with the ball. Forsby, Drago, switches it towards Lucas Nemesha. He's going to keep the ball alive here, out on the left-hand side. Back to Nets, the fullback on the overlap, wing-back on attack roll. He puts it in. Morstead against his former club, heads just over. Grabara going to take this goal kick short. Geiger now with the ball, giving it to Juranovic. The goal scorers linking up. Skov now with it. Hoffenheim with some good players, but when I look at our players, man for man, we are a better team. Man for man, we should be better going forward, he says, as Zach Hyen gives the ball away again. Juranovic back to Skov. Geiger, the goal scorer with the ball. He lays it back. We're pressing. We're trying to force a turnover in possession, but right now, Hoffenheim knocking the ball around with some confidence and some swagger. Brandon Williams at left back for them. Lays it forward to Samuel Lino. He's going to go back to Williams here. Dahoud now with the ball. The deep line playmaker. Plays it towards Adil. Forsby doesn't get there. Hadel scores. And suddenly we're 2 goals down. I think Hadel is to blame here, but Forsby, he looked a bit complacent chasing down the ball here at centre-back, didn't he? Forsby was goal side of the man. Couldn't get there. The number 16 was beaten. Hadel came out. Adil managed to nip in ahead and... we're 2 goals down. It could get worse. Juranovic against us. Of course, Juranovic, formerly of our side. I sold him during the first season for a real big sum of money. And to be honest, I don't feel like we've missed him that much over the years. But, well, defensively, we've looked suspect today. So maybe he would have been useful today. Scott, Drago, Zach Hyen. There's still time. There's still a moment here, perhaps. Nemesha in behind, one-on-one. Should score it. Doesn't score it. He puts his effort just wide. Just over 10 minutes left of the half. It's been an even game in terms of possession. In terms of XG, it's the exact same as well. Of course, they then have a shot. It's a very, very close, hard-fought thing. But at the break, we are going to go in 2 goals down. And that is somewhat disappointing. Okay, managed to get the players motivated. In terms of tactics, do I want to change anything at this early point? There is a temptation to change things. Not necessarily super radically, but just try and change things up a little bit. Maybe move Zach Hyen into the middle. Maybe commit a little bit more going forward. I think I am going to shuffle things around a little bit and actually bring in Adriano at shadow striker. Zach Hyen moving out to the left. I'm going to take off Morstead here, who's not had a very good game against his former club. Yeah, I mean, there's a temptation to change way more stuff here, but at the same time, I do feel like we have to show a little bit of patience in this game. I think what I'm actually going to do here is play Forsby as a defensive midfielder on support, rather than a centre mid on defend. I don't know if this is a me thing, but this year in Football Manager, the 4-2-3-1 with defensive mids does feel pretty good, to the point where I'm actually considering, do I want to move Wiedreago deeper as well? He can't naturally play this position, but he can kind of do a job there. Then perhaps we use him as a Segundo Volante on attack. Maybe I'm getting desperate here, but I feel like we've got to change something up. And this, at least on paper, looks like a good team. So far in this game, their defensive mids have kind of bullied us. Dahoud and Geiger have just kind of ran the show. And I want to think if we can get a number 10 in when we don't have the ball, that centre attacking mid is just going to be able to apply a bit more pressure to them. So far in this game, they've had plenty of time and space. We need to change things up. First 10 minutes here have not looked particularly promising. Gonna get shouty. Need to see something here. And nothing is happening here. Okay, Alex Scott's struggling in this game. I'm going to bring in Tillman and move Adriano out onto the right-hand side. Elsewhere on the team, Diamande, I'm going to bring in, I think... I was going to say for Zach Hyen, but actually I'm looking at Nemeshia's performance thinking maybe I just need to drop you for this game. Let's move Tillman up front as an advance forward. At this point as well, I feel like I have to have the wing-backs on attack. We're already playing really attacking, but... just not creating enough here going forward. 25 minutes to try and find 2 goals as the home side. If we could get 1 goal, I want to think maybe a bit of momentum could move it in our favour. If that is going to happen, though, we need that first goal sooner rather than later. A chance here, perhaps, though. A Wiedreago to Adriano. Diamande trying to play, of course, in that centre attacking mid position, fresh off the bench, working hard as well to get the ball back. Love that from Diamande. A man with a point to prove. Now with Martel. He's got time and space, picks out Forsby, back now with Martel. A little bit of pressure on us, but we're playing around the ball nicely here. Adriano, Wiedreago, Tillman, fresh off the bench. Balls to fall into Diamande. He scores his 3rd goal of the season. We've got that first goal. We need 2 more. We've committed men into the attack here, thrown players forward, and just having more players forward on this occasion has worked out for us. Tillman was caught out in possession, but the ball fell very fortuitously to Diamande. He's finished it. 19 minutes left. This game is not over yet. Nets with a throw-in on the far side. Now with Diamande. Part of me's thinking, if I got a second goal, would I want to go more defensive? But maybe I'm getting carried away. Maybe I'm thinking a little too far ahead here. The job is far from done. We've not even got that second goal just yet. I need to focus on the here and now. And the here and now right now is Hoffenheim knocking the ball around at the back. Geiger to Skov. Adil, or Adley, plays it forward to Burkhardt, who dinks it, and I'm waiting, I'm hoping the linesman's flag is going to go off here. VAR is going to check it. I think he might be onside. I want to be wrong, and I am wrong. Goal disallowed. That could have been game over with 10 minutes left. Instead, we are still in this game, and I'll tell you what, it was very close. We might have got away with one there. Okay, the resulting free kick from the offside is immediately resulting in another highlight. That fills me with dread. The ball is played forward. Tillman can't quite get there, but with fresh legs in the final third aplenty, we are going to hunt down the ball here, force a turnover, and now Bullet is going all on his lonesome. He watched last game Musiala's goal. The right back thought, you know what, I'm going to do that as well, and he absolutely has done it. It's 2-2 here, and from 3-1 down to 2-2 in a matter of seconds. Juranovic, our former player, put under pressure, tried to play it out, it fell to Bullet, and now that dilemma that I had before, and I was thinking about, it is here. I think I'm going to stick with what we're doing. I think we go for the win now. We've got 2 goals without response. The momentum is very much on our side. There could be a chance here as well. Diamande whips in. Wiedreago wins the ball. Martel heads it. And that was not a million miles away. 3 minutes plus any added time. One last shout of encouragement. The board goes up. 4 minutes added. We've rescued what could prove to be a crucial point. But with 20 seconds over the amount of extra time played, there is a highlight here. Dahoud's bringing it forward. Wiedreago makes a tackle. It's a desperate tackle. He did win the ball, but it's not away from danger. Adley hits it. Heydel makes an insane stop. And surely that is that. The keeper, I don't know how he's got his hand to that. He's almost wrapped his hand around from behind, it looked like. I mean, the ball is still here with Andre Silva. We are clinging on. The ball's in the middle. Taruna Riga heads it away. Diamande can't get it away from danger. Blow the full-time whistle, referee. Please, put me out of my misery. We block it. The ball falls. Vijay goes in pursuit. We've played an extra 2 minutes here. What has happened in this added time? Why are we still on the pitch? Silva's forward. We're kicking at our own players. It's offside. The ball's in the back of the net. It doesn't matter. And I think that will be that. Looking at the match momentum here, the changes that we made really worked in our favour. Hoffenheim had a ton of chances at the end. I mean, we've played an extra 2 minutes. Thank you. Oh, my, I thought they were actually about to have another chance. The game ends here. It finishes 2-2. It was a very, very even game, both in possession, in chances, in XG. I feel like we should be happy to come back from behind. Disappointing to find ourselves 2 goals down, but the subs worked out in our favour. And, I mean, Bullet, we have to thank for that. We've salvaged an all-important point. And with that, if I'm not mistaken, we should still be in 4th. And in fact, with Stuttgart yet to play, we've actually moved up to 3rd for now. I mean, Stuttgart are very likely to go back ahead of us in just a day's time. That does mean, though, for a second episode in a row, we've not won, which is a little bit annoying. And, well, knowing that next time out, we're probably going to be coming back for the knockout stages of the Europa League, we do need to start winning sooner rather than later. But let's look at the positives. Bullet, man of the match. What a right back this guy is. 8 finishing, allegedly. He was using all 8 of it in that last game. Okay, that frankly was absolutely bonkers, but we've just about got the job done. Like I already mentioned, I think next time we're going to be coming back for the Europa League round of 16. That is taking place in mid-March. Not a million miles away. Between then and now, few difficult games for us. Freiburg are up in 6th, but besides that, Darmstadt in 17th, Eintracht Frankfurt in 13th. They're games we should be winning in the DFB Pokal. I've got to play Hoffenheim, who we've just played here. If we play like we did in the second half, I think we win that game, but we've been very hit and miss, it feels like, lately. If you have enjoyed today's episode, do make sure to drop a like on it. We will be back again tomorrow with your final dose of Building Berlin action to end the week. Until then, until next time, take things easy. It's me, Jack. I'll see you all again on the next one. I'm out.